Alright guys, welcome to the Season 2, Week 1 of the Manufacturers' Cup on Gran Turismo. We signed with Nissan this time. I'm going to try out the Skylines on here. Did our qualifier and came in 5th. I did leave that out just because it is pretty long. He did pretty good overall though. So here's the final for the first round. Hope you guys enjoy it. One thing I do enjoy with these first lineup videos right here is you get to see all the different creativity on people's liveries that they put on their cars. So it's kind of cool. It gives you some different ideas. Alright guys, enjoy the first lap here. Another thing too I'm going to add, I will be going over some penalty stuff and a really egregious unsportsmanlike conduct by a gentleman later in the race. So stick around and check her out. So as you'll see here on the very first corner, it already gets a little bit bumpy. I kind of figured that would happen though, being that the grouping was pretty tight in that first corner. So me and this Lancer went back and forth quite a few times. He was kind of all over the place. It was tough because I would beat him on certain sections and then he'd come flying back. But it kind of shows that imbalance of power with the cars, something they definitely got to work out. So that whole first lap I was running very lean on the fuel because I wasn't quite sure how quickly it would go through it on this full entire Nurburgring. So it looked like after that first lap I might be able to not have to fuel or tires. I do not end up taking tires, but the fuel part, it seems, is kind of interesting because I end up running a lot more power later in the race, as you'll see, just to keep with the pack. And of course, being such a long race, I had made a few mistakes that did drop me back from the leaders. Ran off a couple corners, but 3 laps on this track is pretty taxing, so yeah, did my best. So coming into this corner, this is the penalty situation I'm kind of talking about. He dove into the corner here. He didn't really bump into me too much. He barely even kind of tapped my side panel, and he got a 2-second penalty for that. I don't feel like he should even have got one, because I've had people basically sit their car into the side of my car and push it off the track and not get a penalty. So him just barely bumping me and not really repositioning me in any way, he got a penalty. I don't think that was fair, but it's one of those things, like, they gotta kind of work out these kind of kinks that I've been seeing as I've been doing these competitive races. Well, but then he goes ahead and bends into the wall, so that was it for him. Another thing you might be noticing now too is it's getting darker outside, so they have a pretty good progression on this week's track. I do like that it kind of progresses from like that daytime to nighttime to where we end up here at the end here where it gets to like full night. Makes it really interesting, and I will tell you this too, which is cool. As the temperatures change, which they don't show you on the screen, but I've noticed the tire grip does change with the actual like temperature, with like daytime track temperatures with the sun on it opposed to the nighttime where it's cool. I did notice there's a big difference there in just overall track grip, so something to point out. It's kind of cool. So here is my very first fuel mistake, as I notice I dropped below 1 lap and I'm so close to getting to the final lap. So if I would have just preserved a little bit more, I wouldn't have had to make a pit stop. But since I dropped below a lap, I do end up having to pit up here. I only take fuel just so that way, I didn't think tires were that much of an effect. You can look at it right now, the tire wear is still pretty much full, so didn't lose a lot there anyway. So I just took a little bit of fuel to make it around the last lap. But it didn't cost me too much. Almost missed the pit stop though. Super close. So this was probably my biggest mistake. I come out of the pit and I just completely misjudge this corner, overshoot it, fly out into the dirt, and lose a ton of time. So it was definitely a lesson learned on that one. When you're coming out of that pit, man, that corner comes up a whole lot faster. So yeah, that one hurt me a little bit, but I think I managed to push this guy back. I can't remember if he passes me here or not, but overall it was good. It's tough, man. This track is very unpredictable, especially at the nighttime here when you can't quite see the corners. So here's one of those other penalty moments I was kind of talking about. As he comes in this corner, he pushes into me and pushes me into the dirt. Even though I was clearly on the road. I was far enough to the right where he could have just went around, but he didn't, pushed into me. So those are the kind of things that I see that don't generate penalties, but yet when somebody barely touches me, they get one. So yeah, got to do some tweaking on that one there. PD, come on now. It's a little ridiculous. Now, I do feel that this offense should be borderline bannable. Like, I feel like we should be able to report players for stuff like this that's coming up here. I've been chasing this guy down. He's been losing time. He's struggling. I can understand that kind of frustration, but right up here I start gaining on him fast, and I try to go out around him. He brake checks me. Hard brake checks me on a straightaway. So, completely unnecessary. Didn't need to do that. I could have got around him. But his brake check damages my vehicle. Now, I'm stuck basically waiting for that to just auto repair, because that's what it does on here. After so much time, the car will just repair itself, and then you can keep going again at your full maximum potential. But he just brake checked me knowing that that was going to happen, got no penalty for it. I did not get a penalty for running into him because I was braking, trying not to slam into him, but he was on a straightaway. There was absolutely no need for that. It was, yeah, that's something that needs to be reportable. So I was pretty frustrated with it because it did cost me positions. I could have probably got to 5th. But yeah, since he pulled that little shenanigan, I ended up not being able to catch back up to him for a while. Almost reeled him in anyways. Shows kind of the difference there too. It's just frustrating because it's like it completely was unnecessary. He knew I was gaining on him for the last 10 seconds and then decided to just brake check me at that moment. It was completely unnecessary. Anyway, it is what it is, but that's some stuff that they definitely got to fix in this game. You should be able to report people when those kinds of things happen, I think. And as you see here, I did end up almost catching him and passing him before the end of the race even, so his little move wasn't that productive. I don't know if it damaged his vehicle as well. I couldn't really tell. But yeah, anyways, that was the final. Ended up 7th. Wasn't real happy with that, but it was, you know, a 3-lap race. That's pretty tough to do without making any like major mistakes. So I learned a lot about the fuel part and making sure I managed that a little bit better. So, but anyways, yeah, it was a good little run. All right, guys, thanks for watching to the end of the Manufacturers Cup for week number 1 of season 2. Appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.